Hey, what's going on, guys? Justin Williams here, and today I'm going to be taking you through my library. I've been collecting these books for years, so stick with me. So I started collecting these books years and years ago, particularly back even all the way as far as 2008, and that's where I got interested in survival with guys like Les Stroud. Then in 2010, with Michael Barton of Bushcraft Bartons, we got to hang out in Haiti and put in some good time. And then also got to get in some training with awesome guys like Dave Canterbury and guys like Bo Brown. Eventually, I had the awesome experience to be able to encounter guys like John McPherson. And so I've been so blessed over my lifetime to be able to encounter and engage with these different authors. And even now, I've recently been able to spend time with Jason Hunt, Craig Cottle, and several others in which I have their books. So what I want to do is I want to take you a little bit through each and every section. It would take hours and hours to cover every book. But I want to show you some of my favorites and encourage you guys to make sure that you're staying educated as you grow in your survival skills. So I want to highlight a couple shelves at a time. Once again, I broke them up into different categories, and this one here is going to be more of your modern survival stuff. And one of the great authors that is a buddy of mine is Craig Cottle. And he's got these ultimate wilderness gear, and he's also got the Extreme Wilderness Survival. These are newer books that just recently come out over the last year, and he also has his own navigation book. Highly recommend his books. Also, as we continue to go through here, you can see amazing books that I've experienced over the years. Everything from different like Morris Kahansky, you got guys like Kefart, just classic books, and then same shelf, we got Dave Canterbury. Check this out. This guy has released several amazing books along with my buddy Jason Hunt over the year on first aid, but everything else is on Bushcraft 101, Advanced Bushcraft, and Trapping and Gathering and Cooking. Great stuff. From there, we move on and we got stuff from guys like Craig Stewart. Craig Stewart's got some amazing books, but another one that I'm a huge fan of is Ray Mears. Essential Ray Mears books. He has been around and one of the greatest guys that I've ever been able to experience through reading his books. So I highly encourage you guys, if you're interested, get into some Ray Mears. So that is shelf number one. There's several others, but let's move on to the next couple shelves for survival, and then we'll wrap up with some herbalism. So I know each and every person is different based on their desire for primitive skills or modern, but these next couple shelves are going to be a mixture of different things. My absolute favorite comes from one of my, I call him a mentor and an amazing guy, and that's John McPherson. And this is some of his original books, Wilderness Living Skills, Primitive Wilderness Living Skills, and they're just amazing books. So I highly recommend these if you're interested in any type of primitive skill set. The same goes on from there. Here's Tom Brown Jr., and he's got several books. I got about 6 or 8 different books there, and those are great as well. Another couple books to keep in mind, this one here has been on one of the very first books I ever got, which is by Paul Campbell, called Survival Skills of Native California. I've never even been to California, but this book is an amazing book on different survival skills, and one of the very first ones I ever came across. Along with that, there's several different books that you guys could check into. You got everything from Ancestral Skills, Primitive Technology, a book of earth skills. Both of them are great books as well to add to your collection. And this one here is actually very underrated, and it's something that I've been using for a long time, and I really love it for modern survival skills, and it's just called the Survival Handbook by DK Publishing. And once again, this one is a colored book as far as textures, and it's got so many resources and ability to learn these skills. This book is definitely worth investing and pouring into. As you can see, there's just dozens and dozens of other books. It would take me days to be able to break each and one of these categories down, but something to keep in mind. You want to make sure you got books on general survival skills. You want to make sure you got books on individual primitive survival skills. You want to make sure you got different things, even something as simple as a trapper's Bible. You know, something like this is going to help you go a long ways in learning your survival skills. So we talked about survival, and it's time to move on into herbalism. Everything from as simple as the Peterson Field Guides. You need to get trees, edible plants, medicinal plants. You can get venomous animals and plants, poisonous plants, tons of plants. and you can also get them in mushrooms as well. And so make sure you got good local Peterson field guides, and then everything else here is just tons of amazing herbal books. Some of my favorites go from Matthew Wood in his Earthwise series all the way down to Samuel Thayer. Samuel Thayer has some amazing herbal books on Incredible Wild Edibles by Samuel Thayer, Forager's Harvest, and Nature's Garden Wild Edibles that are edible. I'm telling you guys, Samuel Thayer, and he also has a DVD that goes along with his Forager's Harvest series. From there, you got different authors and amazing different books on herbalism. But one that oftentimes I want to make sure that you improvise and apply to your situation is The Herbal Medic by Sam Kaufman. He's one of my absolute favorite guys. I got to train under him. I took an 18-week program with him, and then got to be able to take those skills and apply them and teach them myself. So I highly encourage you guys to get Sam Kaufman's Herbal Medic book. So a lot of those initial books were great for getting started. The books I want to talk to you about now is diving deeper into your skill set when it comes to herbalism and apothecary. This one here is one of my absolute favorite books, Foraging and Feasting by Dina Falcone, and it is just an amazing, amazing book. And the great thing about this book is she literally has them drawn. And you wouldn't think drawings would be great for displays, but they break them down into great details and breaks it down into different stages as well, early and mid, late stages. But that's an excellent book. The next one is if you're wanting to go and dive in deeper and become an instructor or a herbalist that actually teaches these skills, that's when you want to go into Peter Holmes' Energetics for Western Herbs. These two books are pretty much the ultimate instructor training equipment and knowledge and learning these skills. Tons and tons and tons of information. They're pricey, and a lot of these books are, especially in herbalism, but that's what you need to do if you're going to dive to the next level when it comes to being an herbalist. The next couple books that you guys need to keep in mind is Botany in a Day by my good buddy Tom Elpel. Tom Elpel is an amazing herbalist. He's so encouraging. I'm so grateful for him. And this book right here, once again, helps you break it down into plant families and beginning to gain knowledge and wisdom when it comes to each category. From here, we got our local, which is Missouri, which is where I'm from, Wildflowers. I love this one because if you look at the side, it breaks it down by the colors of the flowers, and it helps you to begin to simply identify and get to learn more about local plants. I highly encourage you guys get plants and local herbal plant books on areas in your region, in your area. All right, so there are tons and tons and tons of books, but there's one more I want to show you that was recommended to me, and it is very, very, very old. It's from The Shepherd's Purse, and this book right here is a classic. It really is a super, super old book, but it's got tons of knowledge in it. It talks about its location, it talks about its medicinal uses and preparation and different categories and aspects to each flower. So I highly encourage you guys, do some research and see if you can find one of these precious bad boys. But once again, as you can see, there are so many plants on these shelves and so many survival books, guys. I would love to break down each and every one of them with you, but my time is limited, and I know that it could take hours and hours and hours. So I just wanted to highlight some of my favorite books. Another couple different things here. I got The Art and Science of Herbalism from Rosemary Gladstar's school when I went through that program. Edible wild plant books, and just there's more and more and more than I can even fathom. So I'm so grateful for each and every opportunity. All right, guys. Well, last but not least, I love fungi, I love mushrooms, but I am very particular. I stick to about 5 to 10 different mushrooms, and I highly encourage you to do the same thing because there's so many poisonous mushrooms and several deadly ones. So make sure that you get the adequate research. So even if it's something as Missouri Wild Mushrooms, I love this book. I got Mushrooming Without Fear, and both of these books are beginner's guides to help you get started and get focused on learning the basics and essentials of fungi and mushrooms. Once you get really interested into it, not only do you need little simple local ones, local edible mushroom books, but you can look at getting into David Aurora's Mushrooms Demystified. Look how fat that book is. Massive book, but it's a great way to get started if you want to continue to grow in herbalism and mycology, mushrooms and fungi, you name it. We're going to make a use of it. Well, guys, I want to really appreciate you. Thank you for checking out my library and a lot of my books. And I know a lot of the communication's probably off right now. I just had brain surgery and diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, given a short time to live, but I want to make sure I carry on the things I'm passionate about. So that way, if you have any questions or concerns, or you're wanting to grow yourself, you want to grow when it comes to survival. Maybe you want to grow and be a bow builder. I've got some bow building books as well, the Bowyer's Bible. You've probably seen those in the video as well. There's several things that you can gain knowledge and wisdom and confidence by reading some of these books. And so I highly encourage you guys, get online, check it out. Thanks again for everything. I encourage you guys to continue to be praying for my family and me. I'm going to fight it each day. I believe in God. I believe in praising Him in the midst of suffering, and I'm going to rise above it. And so once again, thanks for checking out my library and my books. I hope you loved them, and encourage you guys to do the same, get you some education, and get outdoors and enjoy nature. So thanks again. Be sure to share, subscribe, and stay tuned.